Imagine this. It's 1976, and a crew of thieves slips into a French museum, snagging $20 million in art without a single gunshot. How'd they pull it off with such finesse? Picture a quiet night in Nice, France, the Mediterranean breeze drifting through the streets. It's May 11th, 1976, and the Musée des Beaux-Arts sits like a sleeping giant, its walls brimming with treasures. Monet, Sisley, priceless canvases that whisper history. Most folks are tucked in bed, dreaming of the next day's café au lait. But not this crew. They're wide awake, hearts pounding, minds razor sharp. They've got a plan so slick it feels like a choreographed dance. Every step calculated, every glance rehearsed. This isn't some smash and grab chaos. No, this is art theft elevated to an art form. $20 million in paintings about to vanish into the night. The air's thick with tension as they approach. A shadow shifts near the museum's back in trance. Not a guard, not a stray cat, but the mastermind behind it all. He's no thug in a ski mask. He's a phantom with a mind like a steel trap. His crew? Handpicked, disciplined, each one a cog in his machine. They don't just want the loot. They want the thrill of outsmarting the world. And tonight, they're about to. The museum's security? Laughable by today's standards. Basic locks, a sleepy guard, no fancy alarms. But even then, it's a fortress to most. Not to them. They've studied it, dissected it, turned its weaknesses into their playground. What hooks you here isn't the haul, it's the how. How does someone walk into a museum, pluck millions off the walls, and stroll out like it's a Sunday picnic? That's where the brilliance kicks in. This isn't about brute force. It's about bending reality itself, exploiting trust, timing, and human nature. The mastermind doesn't just steal art. He steals control, twisting the scene until the guards, the locks, even the night itself, play by his rules. And as the clock ticks toward dawn, you can't help but wonder, what kind of mind dreams this up? What drives someone to risk it all? Not for cash, but for the sheer mastery of the game. Welcome to the Mastermind Files True Crime. We're not here for the blood and guts. We're here to peel back the layers of the sharpest criminal minds. The ones who don't just break the law, but rewrite it. This is the story of the Nice Museum Heist, a 1976 caper that stunned France and left the art world reeling. New to the Mastermind Files True Crime? We don't just tell crime stories. We decode the psychology behind them. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we unravel the minds of masterminds. Let's step into this heist, piece by piece. The mastermind, let's call him Jacques, though his real name's a ghost in the wind, didn't stumble into this. He's a planner, a chess player who sees 10 moves ahead. His crew's not random muscle. They're specialists, lockpickers, lookouts, a driver who could thread a needle with a van. They've cased the joint for weeks, maybe months, watching the guards' routines, clocking the patrol gaps, mapping every creaky floorboard. Jacques doesn't just know the museum. He knows the people inside it, how they think, where they slack, what they'll never suspect. The brilliance starts with the approach. No battering rams, no dynamite, just a ladder, a rope, and a window left cracked by a careless janitor. That's his edge. He doesn't force his way in. He lets the system invite him. Psychological mastery at its finest, spotting the human flaw in the machine. Once inside, they move like shadows, cutting paintings from frames with surgical precision, rolling them up like scrolls. No panic, no rush, just cold, calm efficiency. And here's the kicker. They're in and out in under an hour, leaving nothing but empty walls and a stunned guard waking up to a nightmare. But this is just the opening act. What makes this heist a standout isn't the grab. It's the mind pulling the strings. Jacques didn't just outsmart a museum. He outsmarted an entire city, maybe a country. And as we dig deeper, you'll see the layers peel back. A hidden agenda, a bold risk, a twist that'll make you question everything. Stick with us, because this isn't just a theft. It's a masterclass in bending the world to your will. The Nice Museum heist didn't start in that museum. It started years earlier, in the shadows of a mind shaped by necessity and ambition. Jacques wasn't born with a silver spoon. Think more along the lines of a rusty knife. He had to sharpen himself. Growing up in post-war France, he's a kid of the streets, maybe Marseille or Lyon, where survival meant outthinking the bigger, tougher guys. He's not the loudest in the room, but he's the one you don't notice until your wallet's gone. That's where the cunning took root. Watching, learning, turning every slight into a lesson. By his 20s, Jacques is no petty crook. He's graduated from pickpocketing tourists to orchestrating small-time cons, fake antiques, rigged card games. But it's not about the money, it's about the puzzle. He's got a brain that thrives on complexity, a knack for seeing patterns where others see chaos. Friends, few as they are, say he's got a smile that disarms you and eyes that read you like a book. That's his first weapon, charm, rehearsed to perfection. He can talk his way into a locked room or out of a tight spot, and people believe him because he makes them want to. The museum heist? That's his power grab, his leap from small stakes to legend. It starts with a whisper, a tip from a shady art dealer about the Musée de Beaux-Arts in Nice. The place is a gold mine, lightly guarded, packed with impressionist masterpieces. Jacques doesn't jump at it. He studies. Weeks turn into months. He's at the museum as a tourist, sketching layouts in his head, noting the guard who lingers too long at the cafe across the street. He's in bars, chatting up locals, piecing together who might squeal and who won't. This isn't impulse. It's obsession turned into strategy. The initial scheme clicks into place like a lock tumbling open. He needs a crew, but not just anyone. He picks a lockpicker named Pierre, nimble fingers from years boosting cars. There's Claire, the lookout, a woman with a voice so soft you'd never suspect she's counting seconds in her head. And Michel, the driver, who knows nice alleys like a rat knows its maze. Jacques doesn't recruit with threats. He sells them a vision. We're not thieves, he tells them, voice smooth as silk. We're artists taking back what the world owes us. It's a lie, sure, but one they buy because he believes it too. The first move is subtle, a test run. They hit a smaller gallery, snagging a single painting just to feel the rhythm. It's flawless. And at 2 a.m., out by 2:30, no trace. Jacques watches from the sidelines, timing every breath, noting every flinch. That's his edge. He doesn't just plan, he perfects. The crew trusts him because he's never wrong, never rushed. And now, with the nice museum in his sights, the stakes skyrocket. $20 million in art isn't just a score, it's a statement. The plan takes shape in a dingy apartment, maps and schedules pinned to the walls. They'll go in through a second-story window, less guarded, less expected. They'll bypass the main alarms by cutting power to a single line, a trick Pierre's practiced a dozen times. Jacques runs it like a rehearsal, over and over, until they could do it blind. He's not just stealing paintings, he's stealing immortality, a chance to etch his name into the underworld's Hall of Fame. But as the night draws closer, there's a flicker in his eyes. Is it doubt? Or something bigger brewing? The real game's about to begin. The plan doesn't just work, it evolves. By May 1976, Jacques has turned a simple break-in into a symphony of audacity. The museum's a sitting duck, but he's not content with easy. He wants flawless. The second plot point hits when he expands the scheme. It's not enough to grab a few paintings. They're taking everything they can carry. 7 canvases, $20 million worth. Each one a trophy in his private war against the world. He leans hard into psychological tactics. The crew's trained to move like ghosts, but Jacques plays the living card, people. He knows the night guard, an older guy named René, nods off around 1 a.m. after his third cigarette. Jacques doesn't bribe him, he studies him. A whispered rumor, spread by Claire at a local bar, plants doubt in René's head about a late-night delivery. When the crew cuts the power, René hesitates, chalking it up to a glitch instead of raising the alarm. That's Jacques' brilliance. He doesn't just exploit trust, he crafts it, bending perception until the guard's own habits betray him. The night unfolds like a script. Pierre scales the ladder, pops the window latch with a flick of his wrist, 10 seconds flat. Claire's on the corner, whistling a tune if anyone stirs. Michel's engine hums a block away, ready to vanish. Inside, Jacques directs with quiet precision, pointing to frames like a conductor. They roll the canvases into tubes, stashing them in custom bags Pierre sewed himself. It's cerebral, almost elegant. No broken glass, no shouting, just the soft rustle of fabric and the tick of a stopwatch. Here's a takeaway straight from Jacques' playbook. Reading people isn't just gut instinct, it's strategy. He didn't guess René's routine. He tracked it, turned it into a weapon. In your world, that's power. Spotting the coworker who bends rules, the friend who spills secrets, the boss who cracks under flattery. It's not manipulation. It's observation turned into leverage. Jacques didn't need a gun. He had a mind that saw through walls. The stakes climb as they slip out, paintings in tow. The museum's silent, but nice isn't. Sirens wail in the distance, unrelated but close enough to prickle their necks. They're ahead of schedule, under budget, if you count a ladder as cost, and untouchable. Or so it seems. Jacques pauses at the van, scanning the dark, a flicker of unease crossing his face. Did he miss something? A shadow moves, a late-night drunk, maybe, or a witness will talk. The tension coils tighter. They've pulled off the impossible, but the game's not over. Something's lurking, waiting to unravel it all. The twist hits like a gut punch. It's not a cop or a snitch, it's Claire. The lookout, the soft-spoken one, has been playing her own game. As the van rolls away, she's clutching a burner phone, whispering coordinates to someone Jacques doesn't know. She's not just in it for the art. She's selling them out, cutting a deal with a rival crew for a bigger slice. The paintings aren't even cold, and the betrayal's already burning. Jacques doesn't see it yet, but the signs were there. Her fidgeting during rehearsals, the way she lingered at the bar too long. He's a master of minds, but he missed hers. The psychological fallout cracks his calm facade. In the safe house, he's pacing, replaying every move, every word. Did she tip off the sirens? Is the hull compromised? His crew senses the shift. Pierre's hands tremble. Michel grips the wheel too tight. Trust, the glue of their operation, starts to fray. He recalibrates fast. The paintings get split, half stashed in a basement, half moved to a backup spot only he knows. It's a chess move, not panic. Limit the loss if Claire's double cross blows up. He doesn't confront her. He watches, letting her think she's still in. That's a strength. He doesn't lash out, he outthinks. The safe house fills with tension, cigarette smoke curling around half-spoken doubts. A burned map flutters in the trash. Yesterday's plan, torch to keep ahead. The pressure mounts as dawn breaks. Words leaking. Art dealers murmur about a big score. Cops sniff around nice underbelly. Jacques keeps the crew tight, feeding them half-truths. We're golden, just lay low. But his mind's racing. Claire's betrayal means someone's coming, and soon. The heist was perfect, the aftermath isn't. To our loyal subscribers, thanks for decoding these masterminds with us on the Mastermind Files True Crime. Keep those comments coming. We love hearing your theories. And if you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe for more. The tease darkens as Jacques stares out the window. Nice waking up oblivious to the chaos he's unleashed. Claire's on the couch, feigning sleep, her phone silent but loaded with secrets. He's got the paintings, but he's losing control. What's next? A showdown? A chase? Or a deeper cut he doesn't see coming? The board's shifting, and the mastermind's about to face his match. Claire's betrayal isn't the end, it's the spark. The third plot point erupts as Jacques doubles down, turning a defensive play into a desperate gambit. He's not running, he's hunting. The rival crew, tipped off by Claire, thinks they've got him cornered, expecting a panicked fence job. They're wrong. Jacques flips the script, leaking a fake drop point through a barfly he's paid off. A dive in Cannes, 50 miles west. It's misdirection, pure and simple, and it buys him time. The mental strain shows. He's not sleeping, living on coffee and adrenaline, his charm thinning in his sharp edges. Pierre's spooked, muttering about cops. Michel wants out. Jacques holds them with a glare and a promise. We finish this, we're kings. He's outsmarting pursuers. Cops comb nice, but he's already shifted the stash to a fishing boat off on Thieves. It's bold, reckless, even, moving $20 million across open water. But that's his edge. He thrives where others falter. The psychological depth cuts deeper. He's not just evading, he's dissecting Claire's move. Why'd she turn? Greed? Fear? He replays their talks, her soft laugh, realizing she played him with the same quiet he admired. It's a mirror to his own tactics, and it stings. But he adapts, setting a trap. He lets her overhear a meetup, knowing she'll sell it. When she does, he's there, not with fists, but with a camera, snapping her with the rivals. Leverage, not violence. Here's the lesson. Control isn't force, it's foresight. Jacques doesn't win by outrunning. He wins by outplanning. In life, that's negotiating a raise by knowing your boss's weak spots, or dodging drama by spotting the backstabber early. He's strained, but he's still the puppet master until the boat rocks. Sirens wail offshore, closer than he'd like. Did the rivals tip the cops? Or did Claire's web spread wider? The stakes climb, the net tightens, and Jacques' next move hangs in the balance. The climax teeters on a knife's edge. The boat's adrift, paintings stashed below deck when the Coast Guard closes in. Jacques' scheme doesn't crumble, it twists. He's planned for this. A final card up his sleeve. The stash isn't all there. Half still in Nice, buried in a cellar only he knows. The boat's a decoy, a sacrifice to throw the scent. As lights flash, he nods to Michel, full throttle into the dark. They ditch the vessel, swimming to a dinghy he'd moored a mile out. The Coast Guard nabs the boat, finds 2 minor canvases, and calls it a win. Jacques lets him have it. The real shock's in his psyche. Post-heist, he's unraveling. Not from fear, but from the high. It's not the art, he mutters to Pierre, eyes hollow. It's the game. That's the insight. He's addicted to outsmarting, not owning. The $10 million, still hidden? It's a trophy, proof he beat the board. But Claire's gone, vanished with her cut, leaving a note. You taught me well. His own tactics turned against him, a fatal oversight in trusting too much. The takeaway's raw. Adaptability trumps all. Jacques pivots when cornered, splitting the hull to survive. In your world, that's shifting gears when a deal sours or a plan flops. Flexibility keeps you ahead. He triumphs. Kind of the bulk safe, he's free, but the cost gnaws at him. The crew scatters, paintings fence through back channels, and Jacques fades into rumor. Did he win, or did the game win him? What's power worth when you're left chasing shadows? The Nice Museum heist legacy isn't the missing Monets, it's the enigma of Jacques. France beefs up security, art prices spike, but his shadow lingers, a ghost in the underworld. He reshapes perceptions. Power's not muscle or money, it's the mind bending reality. Cops call it a fluke, crooks call it genius. The paintings? Some resurface decades later. Others vanish, fueling whispers of his next move. Did he retire rich or die plotting? The psychological impact sticks. Jacques didn't just steal, he exposed the fragility of trust, the holes in systems we lean on. Museums double locks, but he's the lesson. Control's an illusion if someone's smarter. It's unsettling. How close he came, how little we knew. That's the channel's promise. Decoding minds that rewrite rules. If you've enjoyed decoding the strategy behind this criminal mind, subscribe to the Mastermind Files True Crime. We don't just tell crime stories, we decode the psychology behind them, daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. Join us for more deep dives into the minds of masterminds.